Ooligan Press is proud to announce the release of our upcoming nonfiction title, Cekpa, a Memoir and Beaded Essays, by Leah Altman. Available in stores and online November 11th, 2025.
Born baby girl Blackfeather, Leah Altman was separated from her birth family through placement by the Indian Child Welfare Act, the ICWA, to be adopted and raised by a family in Portland, Oregon. At 21, she journeys across the West twice to rediscover her roots, to her father's Lakota family in Pine Ridge, South Dakota, and to her mother's Persian relatives in Denver, Colorado. As an adoptee, Leah felt the hole in her heart where her Cekpa was missing, lacking this tradition so essential to Lakota culture, manifested in a troubled youth of reckless decisions, substance abuse, and struggling to fit in at school. A child without a Cekpa is left unanchored, and without hers, Leah was at a loss in life. In an intimate portrayal of self-discovery, Leah's memoir tells a painstaking construction of her search for identity, written to ensure her own children grow up with an understanding of their roots. In this collection of personal essays dedicated to her two daughters, Altman masterfully weaves together her own literary Cekpa in a coming-of-age story about transracial adoption, tribal enrollment, motherhood, and what it truly means to be connected to one's culture, homeland, and family.
It was really while I was traveling and getting to know people in South Dakota. They were asking me why I came out there from Portland. And so when I explained that I was there to find my birth family and to get enrolled in my tribe, almost everyone I talked to said, you should write a book about that, or, that would make a great movie or something like that. Or you should find ways to share your story with people, because there's so many people who have adoption stories or stories about their families and their family histories that they just really resonated with my experience. So it was really other people telling me that my story was important and my experience was important to them that made me feel like, okay, well, it seems like this is something that people want to know about that could be helpful to them beyond just myself. So while each essay is kind of nonlinear, it's circular, right? Like a bead. And there's an entry into it and then an entry out of it, like a bead. And so while the individual essays are not linear, the order in which they appear in the book is pretty linear. And that was an idea that Pam Houston, who was one of my biggest mentors, I guess most important mentors, she had said, let's try it this way. Families aren't perfect. There's so many stories, so many books about this topic, that families aren't perfect, and the nuclear family isn't the only kind of family that there is, and that your people are the people that support you and bring beauty and peace into your life. And that can be anyone from blood relatives to adopted relatives to people you choose as your relative. And that's worth a lot, and that's really important. And that knowing that you're loved and that there's a community there for you is so important. And so I had to really find that, and I had to fight for it, and I had to go through a whole process to figure out who I was so that I would know where I was going, and who I was so I knew the types of people that I needed in my life.